I visited the actual location of my favorite 100 famous views of Edo painted by Hiroshige Ando to see what the scene looks like today. The 104th Koumezutsumi Embankment depicts a view of the Hikifune River, which used to flow behind the current Tokyo Skytree. First, please check the location on a large map. It is about 5 kilometers northeast of Edo Castle, around where Tokyo Skytree Station is now located. Here is a slightly more enlarged map. The Kifune River flowed from the northeast into the KitajukkenRiver, which used to flow east-west south of the Skytree. It is shown by the blue line. Hiroshige painted the view around this curve. The viewpoint is represented by the red gradation. This is what it looks like in street view. Hiroshige's viewpoint is a yellow gradient. This is the street view from the viewpoint direction. The blue line represents the Hikifune River, which has now been reclaimed and turned into a road. This Hikifune River was constructed by the shogunate in 1659 for the development of Honjo. At that time, it was called Honjo-Jasu or Kamiri-Jasu, and water was distributed and supplied from Moto Arakawa River in what is now Kashigaya City to various parts of Fukagawa. Later, in 1722, the river ceased to serve as a waterway, but it came to be used as an important transportation route as the Yotsuji Kado passed by the riverbank and connected to the Mido Kado. The river became known as the Hikifune River because travelers were pulled from the shore in boats called zapako, and Hiroshige depicted this scene in his 33 views. Now here is the Tokyo History Map 2. The basic sea map is covered by a map of the time. Koume village in the viewpoint is called Yumagahara, an area with many plum trees, and Koume Kauracho in the east, like Imadocho across the Sumida River, was named after the many kilns where tiles were baked. In addition, there are Oshige, Yukiji, and Terashima villages around the viewpoint. Oshige is a village where the ground was pushed up, Yukiji is a floating island that became a Yukiji land, and Terashima is an island, Shima, with a temple. Tera, all place names symbolize this area that was a source of flooding. In fact, the Arakawa River joins the Iruma River and the Shingashi River and flows through this area in many different directions, and it seems that people lived on land other than the reed-lined marshland. The map shows many remaining blue ponds. Hiroshige left a painting with a slightly different direction in his picture book Edo Souvenir 7. Reading the explanation of the book, it seems that this area was a favorite of Hiroshige. The guardian deity of this Koume village is the Mimegiri Shrine, and a little further down the road is the Akiba Shrine, famous for its fire protection. As a sightseeing spot, it seems to have been a place where visitors could easily reach from Asakusa. In the Honjo Koume area, there were many restaurants and tea houses that catered to visitors to the temple. Hiroshige depicted one such establishment as a restaurant guide of the time. In front of a large building that appears to be the main building, private rooms for entertaining guests are lined up in a row, and a woman is playing fishing in a small covered boat. Now, let's take a closer look at Hiroshige's painting. The painting depicts geese flying across a winter morning sky, and a tree with brown leaves halfway across the sky. This is an alder tree, planted to protect the irrigation channel. The same tree is also planted in the rice field in the back, which was used in place of a rice rack to dry harvested rice and other crops in the fall. The Hikifune River curves to the left, but is actually almost straight. The next bridge to the left of the last bridge seen in the picture is the Akiba Shrine. In the picture, it is the small roof surrounded by green forest on the far left. The road running parallel to the Hikifune River is the Yotsuji Kado, which depicts many travelers. Straight ahead was Mido Kado, and turning right before it led to Taishikuten in Shibamata. A tea store for these travelers is also depicted on the left. On the bank beyond the two samurai-like figures crossing the bridge in the foreground, a villager is depicted leisurely casting a fishing line. Across from them, on the left bank, are many bamboo grass plants. Like the alder, they were planted to strengthen the embankment of the Hikifune River. If you look closely, You can see that the two alder trees on the right side are laughably large and exaggerated. The child and dog playing at the base of them are cute. It is typical of Hiroshige to depict the lifestyle of the time in this area. I have actually been to this location. Today, the river has been reclaimed and turned into a road called Hikifune River. A little further forward, the buildings along the road seem to be leaning against each other. The large high-rise building seen at the end of the road is the redevelopment area in front of Kisuei Hikifune Station. I tried to fit the current image into Hiroshige's painting. The river has become a road. The road is wider, and buildings have been built, so there is not even a trace of those days. The road crosses the Arakawa River at Shinyatsuji Bridge and becomes a water park, passing by Ohanageya and Kamiri stations, and from Oyada, a waterway called Kasai Waterway is restored. The waterway continues on, passing west of Kashige Lake Town, and still connects to the former Arakawa River. In fact, Koumezutsumi Embankment is not included in Edo Mishosu, a book that introduces all the famous places in Edo. What is now known around the world as the Tokyo Skytree may not have been so famous at that time. Until now, Hiroshige has half-heartedly depicted his favorite Mount Tsukuba in this series, even if it is not visible. Even in the 33rd view looking in the same direction, Mount Tsukuba is depicted in large size. However, Mount Tsukuba, which should be clearly visible in the foreground, is not depicted in this series. This raises the suspicion that Hiroshige may have painted this picture just to make up the numbers. Supposed to be drawn like this, but Hiroshige forgot to write it down?